This is CBS 2 News at 11.
Right now at 11, help us help you. That is the message from CPD after more than a dozen people are killed over the holiday weekend. Plus, Hurricane Beryl bringing heavy rain and strong winds to Texas as it makes landfall for the third time since it formed. And here at home, it's a dreary, cloudy day, and some of it is already from Beryl. Meteorologist David Yeomans is here tracking where some of us could see rain. Good morning, and thanks for being with us. I'm Marisa Vedra. We'll get to your forecast in just a moment, but first, we want to get you caught up at 11 on the search for a missing pastor out of Chicago. The last time anyone saw Reverend Warren Beard was Tuesday night when he set out to visit a friend. He has not been seen since that time. Now family and friends are desperate to find him. You see here they just started a press conference in Auburn Gresham. It's a live look now at where the community's being called on to help bring Reverend Beard home. Our Marissa Perlman spoke to the pastor's wife, who says she just wants him safe.
Family and friends say this is very out of character for this pastor, and this morning they are calling for the community's help. Now, Warren Beard is assistant pastor at New Israelite Missionary Baptist Church on Chicago's South Side. He's also the Midwest Regional Director of Facilities for Preservation of Affordable Housing Communities. He was visiting a friend in Joliet, and his wife says she expected him home early Tuesday night since he had work the following day. His loved ones have searched for him over the weekend, fanning out across North Broadway in Joliet.
The fact that we haven't been able to find anything, his credit cards haven't been used. We can't find the vehicle. We can't find any ID. We can't find anything. I'm upset. All of my children are upset. We just want to find them. You know, we want to bring them home safely.
Police say he was driving in a black Honda SUV with Illinois tag DY20511. Anyone with information about his whereabouts is asked to call Chicago police. Reporting in Auburn Gresham, I'm Marissa Perlman, CBS 2 News.
Marissa, thank you. Right now, Chicago police are looking for whoever threw fireworks inside this 7-Eleven near 60th and Kedzie. You can see there the damage pretty severe. The inside of that Chicago Lawn neighborhood store is trashed and charred. We're told around 2:40 this morning, a group of people threw those fireworks inside, then ran off. No one was hurt.
We need to take these people off the street, and we need to keep them off the street.
That is Police Superintendent Larry Snelling about an hour ago addressing the city's violent holiday weekend. At least 17 people are dead and 89 others injured in shootings across Chicago. Mayor Brandon Johnson also weighed in, calling on communities to help police. Our Mugo Odigwe was at that news conference and joins us with what else they had to say.
Both Superintendent Snelling and Mayor Johnson said the police department is putting forth every effort right now to deal with and prevent the type of violence we saw this holiday weekend. But they also said they'll need help from the community.
If we want to avoid having these types of press conferences and these types of meetings again, we need every single person to step up. We need people to start coming forward. We need people to take responsibility. Help us help you.
Right now, police are investigating dozens of shootings across the city, some of them deadly. Others happened as recently as late last night. That includes this deadly scene in the Austin neighborhood. Police tell us officers were doing a well-being check around 11:30 last night at a building on Central Avenue. Inside, they found a 36-year-old man bleeding and unresponsive on the kitchen floor. The man had a gunshot wound to his head and died at the scene. Then about 20 minutes later, close to midnight in Chatham, a teenager was killed and another injured after a shooting near East 89th Place. Police say the teen boys, one 18 years old, the other 16, were on the street when an argument broke out with a suspect. That suspect pulled out a gun and shot the two of them. The 18-year-old died at the hospital. The 16-year-old is in fair condition. Here's some of what Mayor Johnson had to say about the violence.
We are standing here today talking about a violent weekend because of generations of disinvestment and deep disenfranchisement in the exact communities where so much of the violence is taking place. But we are here to say emphatically, that this is enough.
Meantime, an emergency assistance center will be open tomorrow starting from 3:30 to 7 p.m. for crime victims across the city in need of support. At police headquarters, Mugo Odigwe, CBS 2 News.
Thank you, Mugo. Now to a live look from Southeast Texas. We're dipping into the cameras from one of our sister stations there. Hurricane Beryl was downgraded to a tropical storm, but its grip on the area remains tight. The now Category 1 storm is pounding Texas, knocking out power to some 2 million customers. Police are urging people in the Houston area to stay off the roads. More than 1,000 flights are canceled at the 2 airports in Houston. Another impact from that storm, Beryl has led to hundreds of flight delays or cancellations across the country. This is a live look at FlightAware's so-called misery map. More than 900 flights are canceled at Houston's George Bush Intercontinental Airport. This morning, dozens of flights in and out of O'Hare and Midway airports are also canceled or delayed. So if you're flying out today, or maybe you're picking someone up, make sure that you check the flight status before leaving home. Meteorologist David Yeomans is tracking Beryl and the remnants that could affect us here in Chicago. David, what is the size of the storm right now? Because I know it's been changing over the last few hours.
Sure, Marie. It has weakened to a tropical storm now that it is off of that warm ocean water and over Texas land. But it's so fascinating. Something we've been talking about for a week that started way farther than Jamaica is already influencing our weather in Chicago. There's a teleconnection in the atmosphere with tropical moisture streaming our way already. And once the remnants of this storm, now predicted to come a little closer than we originally thought, make it here, heavy rain is also expected late tomorrow, and especially into the early morning hours Wednesday, a marginal or slight risk of flooding rainfall, especially southeast of Chicago in northwest Indiana. We'll talk a lot more about the timing of the rain and how much we may see in just a moment. First, though, we do have cloudy skies, partially from that storm. It's warm and muggy, 80, feeling like 82. Rest of your day today does feature an increasing chance of some heavy downpours with a little bit of that tropical moisture around, especially late this afternoon and evening. Some of these scattered storms, like at the NASCAR race yesterday, may feature torrential rain. We'll have the rest of your work week forecast pretty wet at times coming up. Marie?
Thank you, David. As you heard, rain played a role in this weekend's NASCAR race, especially yesterday. But now that the race is over, commuters are happy that street barricades are coming down around Grant Park. In about an hour, Michigan Avenue will open between Roosevelt and Monroe. Tomorrow night, southbound lanes of DuSable Lakeshore Drive will be back to normal. Some inner streets will be closed until the 18th. 6 weeks and counting. All eyes will be on Chicago for the Democratic National Convention. But today, President Joe Biden is publicly making a plea to his own party on why he needs to stay in the race. Plus, a children's hospital in Ukraine hit during a missile attack by Russia. The mad dash to rescue patients buried under that rubble. Russian missile attacks kill more than 30 people in 5 Ukrainian cities. That is one of the stories we're following in Eye on Your World. Hordes of people rushed to help emergency crews dig through the rubble. This is from a site after a missile hit a children's hospital in Kyiv. A 2-story building next to that hospital was surrounded by fallen bricks, and you see that mangled wood and metal. The missiles also hit apartment buildings and other public infrastructure. President Joe Biden says he is not going anywhere. The president says he will not quit the race for a second term as president. He's even telling critics to, quote, challenge me at the convention. That is happening in Chicago in August. Today, Mr. Biden wrote a letter to congressional Democrats. He urged them to end the party drama and come together to defeat former President Donald Trump in November. Illinois politicians are split. Congressman Mike Quigley has called for Biden to step aside, while Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky is supporting him. Did you enjoy those cheaper prices at the pump this holiday weekend, if you noticed? Well, experts say get ready to dig a little deeper into your pockets. Plus, a way to get in the groove while you get to the train. Local DJs spinning records for commuters, and we'll tell you where. West suburban Aurora set to roll out a new spot for skateboarders and roller skaters. These are renderings of what the skate park will eventually look like, planned for the downtown area. Aurora residents are asked to give their thoughts and ideas about the new park on Wednesday evening around 5 o'clock at City Hall. On the Money Watch, 30,000 workers at Samsung walked off the job in South Korea to kick off a 3-day strike. The union is asking for better pay and 1 additional day off per year. Union leaders say this is an historic action at South Korea's largest company. They're threatening more work actions if demands are not met. That strike isn't expected to have a big impact on operations. The average cost of gas across the U.S. is up slightly from a month ago. Analysts with Gas Buddy say prices will largely hold for now, fluctuating just a bit up and down. But add Beryl as a reminder that hurricane season could play a role in prices in the coming weeks. Here in the Chicago area, AAA says average gas prices are down a bit. In the city, they're down about 4 cents to $4.31 a gallon for regular. Drivers are paying $4.04 in the suburbs. As always, prices in Northwest Indiana are lower, averaging about $3.57 a gallon. NASCAR is speeding into a greener future. The racing company unveiled its first electric car in Chicago as part of the street race this past weekend. It is part of NASCAR's goal of reducing its carbon footprint to zero by 2035. Now, there aren't any plans for this electric vehicle to compete, but NASCAR will be using the car to educate fans and show how this sport can be an industry leader in the future. Dozens of people greeted a 7-year-old boy from Gaza as he landed in Chicago for medical treatment. That is Bara, who lost his right foot and suffered some significant injuries to his arm during a bombing in Rafah. He also lost his father and grandmother in that bombing. He is one of 14 children from Gaza set to receive medical care in the U.S. through the Heal Palestine organization. The Palestinian community in Chicago came together to welcome him. You see it there, as well as his 3-year-old sister and mother.
You know, we want them to feel welcome, come into a new country. You know, in the circumstance that they're in, it's just very difficult. We're going to let them know you have the entire community behind you from the border to border. Doesn't matter where in Chicago, California, Florida, New York, we're all here for them.
Doctors will treat Bara at Shriners Children's Hospital, Chicago. Air travel for the July 4th weekend did set new records at U.S. airports. But as Chris Van Cleve reports, the trip home's being complicated by a major storm.
A sea of people flooding Miami International Airport Sunday, leaving the security line stretching across the check-in area.
When I've been here before, it hasn't been this busy. I can't believe the TSA line is 30 minutes. That's wild.
For much of the Independence Day holiday, air travel was running smoother than last year, with thousands of fewer flight delays and cancellations. But that's changed in Texas. With Beryl hammering the Gulf Coast, United, American, and Southwest canceled dozens of flights in Houston and other Texas cities because of the storm. Ana Lima and her young son told Aralise Preston they were leaving Los Angeles Sunday morning for Brazil, with a stop in stormy Texas.
I just found out this morning that there's a hurricane going through Houston, and that's our first stop.
AAA predicted the busiest 4th of July ever, with many of the nearly 61 million expected to drive heading home Sunday, as gas prices are the lowest they've been on the July 4th holiday in 3 years. Ed Wiest and his wife were on their way back to Pennsylvania after vacationing in the Outer Banks.
I think it's supposed to be a 7-hour drive without traffic. It might be an extra hour from slow down here and there.
Despite significant delays at major airports across the country Sunday, the TSA says it was the busiest day at checkpoints ever, with the agency screening more than 3 million people for the first time since the start of the summer travel season. The TSA has now had 9 of its 10 busiest days ever. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, Phoenix.
Now to First Alert Weather, meteorologist David Yeomans back with us. David, it was a gorgeous Saturday, and then it sounds like that rain Sunday is a bit of a show of what's to come for the rest of the week.
That's exactly right, Marie. Good morning to you. We've got scattered storms that are in the forecast again for the next several days. Nothing out there yet except for a few sprinkles near Joliet on First Alert radar, but that will change. A few breaks in the clouds heating us up and blossoming more showers and thunderstorms today. Some of those could have heavy rain. The main focus of our forecast, though, is tomorrow, as the remnants of once Hurricane Hurricane Beryl move our way, bringing tropical downpours. If you're already thinking about the weekend on a Monday, this coming weekend looks hot and humid with high temperatures up in the 90s. Here is Beryl. It made landfall southwest of Houston near Matagorda overnight as an 80-mile-per-hour Category 1 storm. The storm is now weakening, but we don't care about how strong the winds are because obviously they'll die out by the time they get here. We care about where this slug of tropical moisture is going. And your latest forecasts have it impacting us in a pretty big way. Late tomorrow afternoon and evening, widespread rain overspreads our area, especially from Chicago southeastward. Some of these heavy tropical downpours could continue Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, especially in northwest Indiana. By midday Wednesday, the storm will have pulled away, but not before dropping at least the potential of significant rain, especially for our friends in northwest Indiana. There is a risk of flooding over the next several days from Beryl. 2 to 4 inches projected. Northwest of Chicago, there will be a tight gradient with much lower rain total amounts, and you can tell how the track of this, the remnants of the system, if it wiggles left or wiggles right, this will have a big impact on how much it rains here. So there is still some uncertainty. One of our best high-resolution models, though, has some really exciting rainfall totals in the Kankakee River Valley into northwest Indiana, some possibly over 4 inches. So something we'll stay on top of for you right here today and tomorrow. Today, 85 degrees with some of that tropical moisture leading to cloud cover and some heavy thunderstorms. Overnight tonight, it's warm and it's quiet. Cloudy skies with just an isolated shower and a low of 71. After a 60% chance of scattered storms today, a higher likelihood of heavier rain tomorrow into early Wednesday. That system will also pull in northeast winds off the lake, cooling afternoon highs, maybe to the 70s in Chicago late Wednesday. Later in the week, here comes the heat and here comes the humidity. Scattered storms this weekend with highs Sunday up to 94.
Today at 4, a big reveal at CBS News Chicago. We are raising the curtain at the corner of Washington and Dearborn, and we cannot wait to show you all of the changes that we have made for you. See our beautiful new studio and more today at 4. You know what eases the commute on a Monday after a holiday weekend? Good vibes and sick beats. That is what the CTA is offering at a Southside station. Here's a look at the DJ booth now at the 95th Street Red Line stop. There'll be someone spinning records Monday mornings from 7 to 10, as well as Wednesday and Friday afternoons from 3 to 6. They're playing blues, R&B, soul, and gospel. Music is expected to flow through this Red Line station now through November 1st. Let's get one final check of weather with David Yeomans.
Hey, how fun is that? It'll make the commute a little more fun.
I love it.
Many of us, right?
Yeah.
Hey, we're closely watching the remnants of now tropical storm Beryl, still sitting over Houston, but racing our way quickly. In our 4 p.m. broadcast later today, we'll have an adjustment to this track and what that means for our rain chances locally the next few days.
Great. Thank you, David. And thank you for watching the CBS 2 News at 11 in what has been our last broadcast from our newsroom. Again, we hope to see you back here at 4 this afternoon for the unveiling of our brand new studio and a few other changes we think you are really going to like. We appreciate your patience as we've made these changes for you. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon, and we will see you back here at 4.
Stay weather ready with your First Alert weather forecast streaming on CBS News Chicago.